Welcome to Trading Lounge and the metals and energy report, and just starting with the Australian US dollar here. As our good friend Vadim pointed out yesterday, that the Australian dollar, being a commodity dollar, would probably be close in finding a low in line with gold and some of the other commodities as well. I was having a look at the CRB index as well, which I think is kind of weighted to grains a fair bit too, I think, but I can see another one more low for the CRB index. But with the Australian dollar here, there's a couple of different counts for this, and people will have different counts, but whichever way you shape it up, it does appear that we are approaching a low, and we've been counting 5 waves from this wave 4 down through to here, and then inside this previous wave 4 we're counting 5 waves down. So we're looking for a low pretty shortly in this particular market. So it's going to be interesting to see how the metals, gold and silver, sort of shape up to the Aussie dollar having a low in place soon too. We don't have any evidence of a low being in place yet, and we'll have to wait for that. But I thought because it was mentioned, we should bring it on the table, and we'll keep a bit of an eye on it and see what the relationship is to the other markets. Starting with gold, just here on the 15-minute chart. Now, maybe we'll just have a look on the 2-hour chart just to get our bearings a little bit here. Okay, so essentially what we're looking for here, well, I'm just going to come back in here a little bit. We're toying with a possible low in place here, okay? And in this particular instance here, I've got it counted up as a corrective pattern, and that could certainly be the case as well as a bullish case. Now, in the bearish case, I've got this labeled as an A wave and a B wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 5. Well, I think we should bring 5 over yonder over here, but so it can be wave C here, or it can be wave 3 here. So this is wave 4 here. It's pulled back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. So all that's sort of fine. But we don't have this move up to the 61.8 retracement level at the midpoint here. It can be counted as corrective or impulsive, a finished corrective pattern, but an unfinished impulse pattern. So, if and when and we can expect, we shouldn't jump to conclusions either way just yet, just because we've seen it sold off here, because either way we would expect that at this level anyway. So, but the main point here is that if it's going to fail, it's going to fail from here. And if it finds support on top of this 150 here, then we know that we can go higher and take these highs out here. So in essence, the real long trade would be with a nice support on top of this figure here, okay? Under this, it's all a little bit iffy and at risk. So coming into the 15-minute chart here, it doesn't really give us a lot to work with here. I know that from this low here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can be counted as an A wave or wave 1, an ABC for either wave B or wave 2 here. Both are valid. And then we can see that we've got 5 waves up here. Now, I can't label this a third wave here because it's too small in compared to wave 1 here. So it's either likely to be an A wave to here, a B wave to here, and a C wave to here, with wave A and C looking roughly the same size and so on. And it can fail from that point. So it can be down for 1 here, back for 2 here, and then down for 3, 4, and 5. So it can fail from here. Be mindful of that. Otherwise, on the bullish count, we would look at this as being wave 1 to here, wave 2 to here of green degree, and then this 5 waves up here of 1 degree smaller of wave 1, and we'd be looking for an A and a B and a C back into this sort of figure over here, and then moving up from that point there. So I don't have any evidence either way of which is which at this particular point. So you'll need to be careful about this situation. It can pull back into this area through here, so it might be best to take profit on these longs that were entered around here, perhaps. And if you have longs further down here, you may want to sort of keep those. But you kind of want to get, if this market moves here, if this market moves down to here, even down lower here, you want to be at a rough break-even point, at least at this point here, or take some profit here and take it from that point there. In fact, let's just we'll just put that there, just to remind us, but basically lock in something there at that point there. And this is the same for silver as well. So on the silver front here, let's flip back to gold, sorry about that. So on the silver chart too, if we compare the wave counts as such as well, then we would need to put the wave C here in here as this. So once again, this move down through here can be wave 5 and the end of it, and we can move up from that point. Otherwise, it's wave all the way down here for wave 1, and we're looking for wave 2 to pull back into this sort of space here at this number here. And that's pretty much, we can bring that over here. That's pretty much okay there for for this to be there as well. So we just need to be careful here too. This can fail from here, but I wouldn't look at failure until this was breached. This 61.8% here was breached. So I would need to see this sort of level. I'd need to see the market down here somewhere to realize that it's failed at that particular point there. So it's also possible to count this here all the way up for wave A here, or wave 1 and wave B here as well. So once again, we'd only turn really solidly bullish with confidence if we found support on top of this price point here. Okay, so that's that. The we'll just have a look at copper here. Okay, so still no answers here just yet. Wouldn't worry too much about that. As it stands here, this stands for an A wave and a B wave and a C wave. That's a corrective pattern here. So we would need to see, if this was going to turn into a bullish market, we would need to see this pretty much stop where it is and make a new high here and give us 5 waves up. If it doesn't do that and moves back down here further somewhere through here, then it's definitely a corrective pattern, and then we will be moving lower into this figure down here, and then I would have to move that wave 4 in. I didn't want to move this wave 4 in here just yet because it's just a little bit small, it's bigger than this guy here, which is great, but I suppose just a little bit small, but perhaps we need to sort of run with that situation there as well. It has broken the trend line, and that's what wave 4 is supposed to do as well. So at this stage, we need to consider it bearish and looking for the next move down. So if it sort of moves down lower here, you'll know sort of where we are at that stage. I'll just save that. And the next market we can look at is the energy sector, and we'll have a look at natural gas because we didn't look at that yesterday. What I've been looking for here is some sort of move to the upside here, and basically we're getting that, which is good. So it's sort of in line with oil as well, and we would look at this as being an A wave to here, a B wave to here, and then a C wave moving up through here. Obviously, it's struggling to get up there, but I haven't seen a break. It's not. This pattern's not broken down just yet. So let's just observe it for a while and see if we can get a shorting opportunity up here. The oil market's come off a bit. The crude market. So as mentioned yesterday, we were looking for a top of wave A here. We had a nice 5-wave structure up through here. And we're looking for an A and a B and a C back into this area here. Now, it has moved rather swiftly here. That wave 4 is actually in there. Sorry about that. Let's just go into... not sure what I've done on these things here. So, okay, this is what we drew out before. I might just go into a 5-minute. Anyway, we're expecting it down there. Let's just try and get into here and have a look in here. I just want to have a look on the 5-minute chart, see if we can pick thread up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that looks like 5 waves there. So an A wave, an A and a B and a C for wave B here. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we're close. Okay, so let me just... We're looking for 5 waves here, and we can see that. It's probably easy if I squash it up, but I can't see what this one is. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and yeah, I can't work this one out. But we're very close to being at this low here. So we should see this market come back from this little point here and start to find support on this number here. So just give it a little bit of time and ask yourself, is that number the tested support? And if so, then you can trade long, because you know, when we were looking over here before, I don't know if it's this one here, it doesn't really matter, but I mean, we should get just double checking that move up, and that's fine too, because we've got 1 and 2 to here, then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here for the third wave, all the third wave here, the fourth and the fifth, so not a problem. So you know, this 5 waves here after a correction here should produce another 5 waves of the same size here going to the upside. So I think that that's quite exciting. I also noticed too, and I need to double check before I open my my big mouth, is that BHP appears to have this sort of pattern coming up off its lows as well. So obviously, you know, it's in the black liquid gold business. So yeah, this ABC here, I have to say, where's that 50-60%? Let's just shoot the breeze on this for a second. Oh no, it's much further down than I thought. Okay, so it's down here. So it's possible. I mean, what I was sort of thinking is that the size of this pattern here in terms of proportion to this here is still too small. So we might end up seeing something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here, then an A and a B and a C, and then another 5 waves sort of stunting itself into something like this and then moving up. That would be more fitting. So yeah, you have to be careful. If you're going to get support on here to go long, you may get trapped in here for this, but if not, then you'll get it the second time round off group 1 here. We'll get it, or we'll get it off this one here. So I think that I think this is just a little bit small here. So anyway, have a look at the update on the during the London opening there. We'll get a closer look at this. Okay, that's that. All right, cheers.